Hey all, this is your video for week 4 continuation. As I mentioned in the previous video over week 4, chapter 5, this covers 3 chapters this week. So I've already covered the chapter 5 video that you'll be able to see in the week 4 video folder. This video is for chapter 7, interacting with instructors in classes. So if I click into week 4 in the materials folder, you will see the link that will take you directly to the the chapter 7 textbook and the chapter 7 PDF. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up the PDF and walk you through chapter 7. All right, so chapter 7 is talking about, interacting and engagement. It's a really big part of your overall college learning process. So whenever you are in the college setting, especially in a 2-year college, a lot of your instructors are very active in their field already. They might be in their field in the day and then teaching at night, or vice versa, or they're connected to the field. A lot of those interactions are going on. And so because of that, they really want you to get involved in material. So this section talks about, the importance of engagement in that respect. Excuse me. So why attend classes? Well, hopefully this is obvious, but, if you miss a class, you might miss something that is going to be really important to maybe the next class, a test, the bigger picture, so it's important to be in class. Sometimes students think they can get away with not going as long as they study and take the test, and that's not always true. You do have attendance grades. Even in a large class, your absence will be noticed. There is a correlation between how many classes you miss and your grade, and obviously you're paying money to be in class, so you want to get your money's worth and be there. If you miss class, again, some of this might seem like common sense, but it's a good reminder for students. If you miss class, there's things you should be doing. You should be touching base with your instructor and say, hey, I'm out. This is why, not a lot of details, like I'm not feeling well or something came up, and see if they can either give you the notes or let you know what's going on. Sometimes they might teach a class on Monday, Wednesday, and you take it on Tuesday, Thursday. You might be able to attend on the Monday session. That happens every once in a while. You can always ask. You can ask another student to borrow their notes. You can go in and to office hours and touch base. So lots of things you can do. Obviously, you want to make sure that you're also checking your syllabus to see what you missed. So part of interaction and engaging is participating, and everyone participates a little differently. So sometimes your participation is going to be very outward. Sometimes it's going to be things that you do inside class as well as outside of class. So regardless, to participate in class, you have to be prepared. So, reading the assignments ahead of time, reading the chapters, going over anything that you might need, that's going to help you be ready to go for that day. Where you sit in the class plays a big role in your engagement. Obviously, you're in the very back. You might be more likely to kind of not pay attention, not be engaged, making sure that you're taking notes. We already talked about note taking in a previous chapter, not writing everything down. Ask questions, answer questions, pay attention to the different learning and thinking and teaching styles going on in every class, and pay attention to how you're communicating. Other ways you can communicate, participate, ask questions. Obviously, you want to make sure that you are answering and responding to questions. Sometimes it might also be you want to wait till after class. You want to send an email. That's another way to participate. It's another way to ask questions. But you want to make sure that you are engaging in that way. You are here to learn, and so asking questions is a big part of that. So you want to make sure that you are asking those questions and don't feel held back, because sometimes students feel like they shouldn't be asking these questions or they should know these things. But that's why you're here, because you're not going to know the answers to everything, but your instructor is there to help you, figure those kind of things out. So make sure that you are taking the time to ask questions, communicate with your instructors. If you're not comfortable doing so in a class setting, then go to their office hours or send an email or call. Anything that's going to make you comfortable, especially beginning to be engaged and to stay in contact with them. Use your professional written and spoken communication skills. There's a little bit of an anxiety that comes along with some of that, which, that plays a part. And some of this talks about presentation anxiety or just general speaking anxiety in terms of small groups even. So understand that, there's going to be some anxiety involved. Be prepared, whether that is hey, you're going to talk to your instructor after class, or you have a class presentation, being prepared, practicing what you're going to say, focus on what you're saying, so that you are going in with confidence and you're prepared for that. And then this specifically talks about presentations, going in and interacting and presenting. So in many of your classes, you do have presentations, maybe a small group presentation, an individual presentation. So make sure that you are prepared for that. Research, practice, organize. One of the best things you can do is just be prepared. Go in front of a mirror, go in front of a friend, record, rewatch it. All of those things are going to help you. So inside the chapter itself, again, as always, you can pull this up here. So this goes through, what we just kind of skimmed over, the importance of being in class, the importance of participating and what that looks like in different ways. Again, sometimes your learning style or your comfort in class will kind of dictate for a while what participation looks like. But sometimes something as simple as, making good eye contact, showing, interested body language, those are other ways to show that you're participating and that you're engaging. So this goes into a little bit more detail about all of those things that we just talked about on our slideshow. What to do whenever there are questions going on, whenever you are asking a question, whenever a question is asked of you. Different kind of protocols, so to speak, with communicating, talking with your instructors. Sometimes students find that a little intimidating at first until you get to know your instructors. So this kind of walks you through maybe some guidelines or what to expect whenever you are going to visit or talk with an instructor. One of the things that I like to tell my students is whenever you email, obviously we are online, but if you email your online instructors, make sure that you state your name and the class that you're in. I have students who will email me from a personal email address that has no mention of their actual name in there, and then ask me a question. So I don't know their actual name. I don't know what class they're in because I teach multiple online classes. And so that's important. Just kind of make sure that you are addressing them respectfully. You tell them what your name is, what class you're in, so that they have a little bit of context before they kind of go into the meat of the question. So this is all, again, tips on how to communicate effectively with your instructors. Some emails, do's and don'ts, if you will, because sometimes we're so used to just very casual because of texting language, because of social media language. So you want to make sure that you are communicating in a way that's appropriate and professional for an instructor-student relationship with your email. Resolving problems if you have kind of a maybe personality or learning style difference, some things that you can do to kind of approach that. And then the last section, as we talked about, is your public speaking and class presentations, because you will at some point be expected to do this for certain classes, and there is a degree of anxiety that comes along with it. And so you want to understand why you feel that anxiety, ways that you can reduce that anxiety. This goes over some just general guidelines for presentations. So if you are doing, PowerPoint presentations or a presentation based on a written work, this is going to go through and talk to you about those different steps that you should be doing and taking, thinking about your audience. How are you organizing your presentation? How are you revising and looking at that? Lots of information on that. How are you preparing what you're going to say? You don't want to read the PowerPoint or read your note cards word for word. You're going to practice it, and then you are also going to then go through with the actual delivery. So I encourage you to take a look, and there's also group presentations. There are lots of group presentations in some of your effective speaking type classes. There's even a class called, group communication. So you may have that. So there's tips on that here. So for this chapter, I encourage you to take a look at any section that you feel like is going to be beneficial for you, wherever you need to kind of look, or through all the sections. And that is your Chapter 7 material. I will be back with a video that will follow up with Chapter 8